Hey, this is Christian Stokes. Welcome to the FNaF show.
Everybody, welcome back to the FNaF show. I forgot what episode this is. This might be episode 7 or episode 6, one of the two. We have an amazing guest today. First time interacting with each other as well, which is crazy to think about. But I have the amazing Christian Stokes here today. He played Hank in the Five Nights at Freddy's movie.
Hey, what's going on, man?
I'm good. How's everything going? By the way, I just want to point this out straight away. I love the chair that you're sitting on. Is it like a throne or something?
It is. It is. So what very few people know about me is that I actually run the biggest haunted house in New Orleans. Like, I am one of the I'm the entertainment director. And so I am coming to you live from the throne of lies at the Mortuary Haunted House.
I did not know that.
That's right.
Oh my God. Okay, so next time I'm in New Orleans, is it open all year?
Oh, it's open for September and October. But I'll tell you what, man, anytime you're in, let me know. I'll give you the tour.
Oh, okay. That sounds fun. I'll have to let you know, because seriously,
Sure.
When I come down, I'll let you know. And it'd be amazing to do like a vlog or something, just going around, like having a good time.
Yeah, it is the only haunted house in the world. It's crazy.
Oh, is it like a super old building or something?
Yes. And it's called the mortuary because it is an actual mortuary it was a mortuary from 1930 to 2004. And
what?
So it's like the embalming room is downstairs. There are 9 ghosts that live in this place along with us.
I've got to go. I've got to come. I'll message you.
Yeah.
I'm going to message you after this and talk about it. So, first question for you is a nice and easy one. How did it all happen?
Well, so I've been acting for going on. I was doing the math for the show. 30 years, Dawko. 30 years I've been doing this thing, and half of my career has been stunt work, and half of my career has been acting. And I have an agent. I've done a lot of little bits in a lot of movies over the years, and I got this audition for this movie that I honestly, I'd never heard of Five Nights at that time. And I'm like, okay, sure. And so I audition. It's like I'm being stabbed to death by a giant bunny with a guitar. Like, sure, why not? I've been known to play some pretty crazy horror movies. And I auditioned and I sent it off and I forgot about it. And that was in early November of 2022. And usually I'll wait about a month or so, and then if I don't hear anything, I assume that they moved on, right? No, I didn't hear anything, and I'd forgotten about my audition. And in the beginning of January, which was about almost 9 months since I auditioned, my agent reaches out and says, "Hey, Christian, you got this Five Nights at Freddy's thing." And I'm like, "What is it again?" I had to go back and look at it, and I'm like, "Oh, it's the crazy bunny thing." That's how it happened. It's pretty crazy.
Hey, that's awesome. So when you did get the role and stuff, did you start researching what Five Nights at Freddy's is just to learn about realizing it's based on a game and stuff?
So it's an interesting story. Even at that time, I didn't fully understand what Five Nights at Freddy's was. And listen, I think I'm very pop culture oriented. So when I found out that I didn't know anything about this thing and it was as big as it was, it blew my mind. And I literally was trying to figure out how I missed the boat. And at that time, I was actually running a big Marvel Universe Live stunt show all over the world for 3.5 years. And I was in a different hotel every week for 3.5 years. And I just missed it. 2014, that's when that started. And so I start kind of, it's like, it's a game, it's a video game. And my agent says something, she releases this thing. When we book something, my agent, she celebrates with us. She goes, "Congratulations to Christian for booking a highly anticipated film." And I'm like, highly anticipated? Who knows about it? Who knows about it besides? Because normally a movie, you don't know about it until after the fact, right? Or a sequel or something like that. And I'm like, so this is crazy. So it's highly anticipated. Nobody knows about it. And she's like, oh, everybody knows about it. I'm like, what are we talking about here? And so I start kind of digging around. I find out it's a video game. I find out, I get the information. My 9-year-old nephew's like, oh my God, you're in Five Nights at Freddy's. I'm like, no, I don't think it's the same thing. He goes, but it's got animatronics, it's got a bear, it's got a bunny. A bunny? Does the bunny have a guitar? Yeah, that's Bonnie. And I'm like, oh, that's it. So it was my 9-year-old nephew that literally clued me in to what Five Nights at Freddy's was all about. And then at that point, I started doing my research. I got the character book. My roommate brings home this big book, says, here you go, it's all the characters from the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise. And I'm looking in like, who's this Hank guy? And Hank's not in there. And I'm like, oh, no, wait a minute. So, and then obviously the Henry Emily stuff happened, which I'm pretty sure we'll get into that.
Yes. Yeah, I remember that.
Skipping ahead a little bit, my name got released. Like literally, I filmed the first day. My first day at Five Nights at Freddy's. And we filmed the whole thing in chronological order. So the first thing we shot was us outside of the garage. The last scene we shot was in in Sparky suit. That was the last thing we shot. So everything was chronological, right? On the first day, somehow my name released to the public. And my social media exploded. Like it blew up. I'm like, holy mackerel. My phone kept chirp. I couldn't make it stop chirping. My phone broke. The speaker on my phone broke from all of the notifications I was getting in that moment. And I saw people go, oh, he's Henry Emily. He's Henry Emily. I'm like, and I had an NDA, so I couldn't say one way or the other. If I was or if I wasn't. In fact, I was so afraid of getting in trouble with Blumhouse that I didn't know what to say, but at the same time, I couldn't ignore 10,000 chirps. So it's now that famous post on Twitter, are you ready for Freddy? And that started the whole thing. It was great.
Yeah, I think people assume that you were Henry because ever since we knew about Henry, we've had like this image of what he might look like in a movie, and as soon as we saw you, we were like, yeah, that looks like Henry to me.
Well, and listen, Scott's so clever in the way that Carl, Cupcake, Hank, Henry, and he knows what he's doing. He's stirring that pot just a little bit. He's a smart guy. Yeah. And he knows how to get reactions out of the fan base. And I was just watching it. It was a master stroke of PR. I thought, like, these people are talking about this movie, and they don't really have anything concrete to talk about, and they still are.
Yeah.
So I loved it.
I know. That's what we've always been like. As soon as any little FNaF news or leak pops up, we are like vultures, like just getting everything that we can, because the FNaF movie was actually announced by Scott back in 2015. So it was very, very anticipated. We've been through a lot of ups and downs with the movie. Like before Blumhouse, it was with Warner Brothers, and that fell through.
I think it had Christopher Columbus.
Yes, it did. Yeah, it did. Yeah.
I saw that.
So,
listen, I gotta say, I'm sorry it took so long, but at the same time, I'm glad it took so long, because it wouldn't have been me. It wouldn't have been me. It had been somebody else. So I'm like,
look, everything happens for a reason, though. Like, the movie was crazy. The biggest horror movie of 2023. How does that feel, like being involved, like being in a movie like that?
It's crazy, because I decided a long time ago that I wanted to be an actor, and I was in high school. And I dreamed of being in a Hollywood blockbuster that was at the top of the charts worldwide. That was my dream. So Five Nights at Freddy's made my dream come true, which like literally floored me. I didn't think about that again till about 6 months ago, and it floored me when I realized, oh my God, that was my dream. My dreams have come true, Dawko. And it was Five Nights at Freddy's. So Five Nights at Freddy's, I can't even describe the feeling. It's like, I guess the closest thing that I could describe it to is that person that has been buying lottery tickets their whole life saying, this is the one, this is the one, this is the one. And one day, this is the one. so it's exhilarating.
I love that. That's awesome. So how was playing Hank in the movie?
So, you know, what's interesting is we don't get a lot of backstory. We get the script. And so, you know, as an actor, it's our job to dig through this and figure out, you know, who the character is, what motivates the character, you know, why the character does the things that the character does. You know, as written, Hank's just he's just kind of a pretty bad dude, you know. As written, he breaks in, breaks things, and probably gets what he deserves. So at that time, the novel obviously hadn't come out yet. So I didn't have an official backstory that I now do through the novelization. But it's funny because I created my own backstory as I came in to help me, you know, figure out who I was, why I was doing the things I was doing. And it's funny because from the get-go, the one thing I did know is that Carl was my son, that Joseph was playing my son. And the whole time, we literally... we have this father-son dynamic because there's a cut scene in the beginning when we're having some dialogue outside when Bonesy the dog is just woof, 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 and we're like, that dog's gonna be trouble, and we're blaming the dog on basically he's gonna get us. Cat's in the truck and the dog is barking and we're pointing our fingers at her because she's making all this noise. And there was a bit where we're getting ready to go in and Joseph pulls up his little earphones like he's getting ready to rock out going into Freddy's, and like a typical dad, I'm like, take the headset off, pay attention. It was so fun. I mean, those little bits is what made our relationship so grand. And I will say that the final novelization wasn't far from what I had in mind. My character, I always looked at my character as being Jeff's dad, and Hank kind of ran the operation. And then Hank went to jail and he's just now getting back out of jail. Jeff's dad's passed on. So rightfully so, Jeff calls me in, but Jeff's a little afraid of me because I'm always vying for, you know, I'm trying to run things. But in this particular case, you know, we come in, we wreck the joint, and that's the way that I looked at it. I think in the novelization, it's got Carl that has gone to jail. And the way that I looked at Carl is I was like, look, this guy's trying to be a criminal and he's getting in trouble and he's not doing it right. So at least let me show him how to be a proper criminal. And of course I get us all killed. So
yeah, I wish we got to see those that relationship more in the final version. I did mention this to Joseph when we did our interview. Is that
great interview, by the way? I enjoyed that.
Hey, awesome. I felt like I just wish we got to see more of that relationship between you and Carl, because I feel like we would empathise with you more. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Because I know that you are vandalising the place. I know, but I don't know. I just felt bad, especially when Carl got killed by Chica. I felt really bad for him. For sure. Really bad.
And by the way, I watched that. I was on the side of the camera watching Joseph's face get eaten off by the cupcake. And it was amazing. It was amazing. I think Joe said something about the fact that, you know, they were like, how's this cupcake doing this? I'm sitting there watching the cupcake's jaw go up and down, like, and I hear Tammy, the director, says, that's not animatronic. How's it doing that? And it was Joe. Joe's going, making the thing just to his face. It was hilarious. It was great. It's great. I think it made the movie. It was awesome.
That's awesome. How long were you filming for then at the pizzeria and stuff? How long did that take?
So all said and told, I was there for about 3 weeks. In fact, my last day was the day before you guys arrived. So you guys, I missed you by 1 day. So my very last day was it was with Torture Freddy and with Josh. Josh was in the Torture Freddy chair, and we were all in the outfits, all against the wall in our dead body suits. And That was the last day. But yeah, 3 weeks in total. I started shooting at the end of, I believe it was the end of February, and shot all the way towards the end of March.
Yeah. Awesome. Do you have a core memory during those 3 weeks then? Any like memorable moment?
And there are so many, as I've told you, I've done this for a while. And I think I've had the most fun with this movie that I've had on any other. And honestly, it didn't feel like work. It felt like we were literally in a playground, I mean, I've got so many memories. I get a baseball bat and they say break things, everything. So I break everything. That was awesome. Not seeing, everybody wants to see the animatronics. I don't want to see the animatronics. I do, but I know that I want to save it for the first time I see them on camera. And it was the first time I actually saw them on camera was Chica. Right after they take out Carl, Chica turns and does that squint with evil eyes. And that's where the scream came from, by the way. I don't scream like that. The scream happened naturally. When I saw that, I'm like, ah! It went crazy. And Emma comes to me and she goes, Christian, can you do that scream again? I'm like, yeah, I think so. So she goes, just do the scream from now on. Make that scream happen. And so I screamed every chance I got, to the point, Dawko, my head hurt. My head hurt from screaming so much, but I couldn't help myself. And who knew that was going to become what that became, because that's not the way it was written. Mm-hmm. It was originally written that as we're breaking things, I'm whistling the Toreador and we're bashing things and breaking things apart. And none of the screaming bits were there. And I didn't actually see that until I went to the screening. I'm sitting, Josh in front of me, Matthew Lillard's behind me, Piper's there, we're all there, and it's only a few of us in the room. And I watched Five Nights for the first time, and that scene happens, and I was so confused. I'm like, what happened to all the other stuff? And I'm like, oh no, was that good? Was that not good? Mm-hmm. I don't know. And then the next day we did the screening for the cast and crew in New Orleans. And there's 300, 400 people in that room. And when that scream happened, everyone died laughing. I'm like, thank you. So it worked out great. It's hilarious. Since
you've now learned about Five Nights at Freddy's, have you played any of the games or anything?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, here's something that's very interesting. So I started finding out all of the lore and finding about the games on set. Like literally, I've got Joe there, who's the biggest advocate for Five Nights at Freddy's that I could have ever met. And he's the one, he's in my ear telling me, okay, so this means this, and this is what this, and this shirt, Midnight Rider, and he's telling me everything. And then I've got the fans are asking me questions, and I'm asking them questions. So the fans are giving me the lore. Joseph is giving me the lore. I've downloaded Five Nights at Freddy's 1 on the phone. I'm playing in between takes on the phone. I'm playing Five Nights at Freddy's in the pizzeria while we're shooting. It was crazy. So, it was to sit in the pizzeria in one of the booths playing Five Nights at Freddy's while we're taking a break filming was one of the most surreal experiences of my life.
Awesome. Bonnie. Okay, unfortunately, you do get killed by Bonnie. I know that we don't specifically see what happens, but does the book describe what happens to you? I can't remember. Or do you know what happens?
Well, I have it in my mind what happened because I had to play the scene, so I had to react to something, right?
Okay.
So we're in that closet, and Jade plays Bonnie. It's funny because I always, when I see the movie and I look at how mean and scary Bonnie is, in between takes, I know Jade's like,
yeah,
okay, let's go. So I've always got that juxtaposition in my brain. But the moment that I always, I had a broken arm. Right? Mm-hmm. So the way that I saw my death is that Bonnie backs me into the corner and reaches out and grabs me by this arm and starts shaking me like you seen a dog with a chew toy?
Yeah.
Shaking me like a chew toy where my arm literally breaks. I'm screaming and thumping me into the wall. Thump, thump, thump. And with that other hand drops and boom, punches a hole in my chest.
Damn.
That is the way that I envisioned that scene when I died. The beautiful thing is that it wasn't written specific, so there is no definitive way that Bonnie killed me, but that is the way that I see it in my brain. I know some people talk about a bite, some people talk about all these different ways to die. You know, that's the amazing thing about that scene is it lets your imagination run, and what you visualize, it's like the power of Jaws. You don't see the shark take the swimmer down. You see the blah 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 and the blood. That you visualize the most terrible image you can come to mind. And so if yours is more terrifying than mine, then it was yours.
Out of all the movie animatronics, do you have a favorite?
You know I've got a relationship with Bonnie.
Yeah.
You know that Bonnie and I, you know, it's like first animatronic I saw was Bonnie. I tried, you know, Jim Henson made, I call them the Murder Muppets. Jim Henson made the Murder Muppets, and they were the first day that we're going to shoot. It was my scene in the supply closet, and Chica with Carl, and I conscious decision when everybody else went to go watch to see the animatronics for the first time. I did not. I didn't want to spoil I knew I was about to see them for the first time on camera. So I didn't see them. I stayed away from them so that I could get an actual, you know, take. My first take was the real take. What wound up happening is as I come around the corner to prepare for that scene, there's Bonnie. And there's a video out on my Twitter. The first time I saw Bonnie, I sit and I look in the corner and I swear Bonnie kind of looks at me. I'm like, what? There's nobody in that thing. So I even pulled my camera out and I swear that guy just moved looking at me. That was the first time I'd ever laid eyes on Bonnie. First animatronic that I saw on set was Chica. And Chica, that's why the scream happened, because Chica literally, I did not know that the head could move like that. I did not know that the eyes could do what they did. And it literally threw me for a bit of a loop. And so the scream was natural. And the fact that I'd been doing some karaoke the night before, you know, a little 80s hair metal, you hit those high notes, and I think automatically my voice went to that. It was crazy. So like you said, everything happens for reasons.
Yeah, I know, right? Are you excited for the next movie? So I know we haven't seen much about it. We got that teaser image about a month ago of Toy Freddy.
Yes.
Yes. So yeah, we don't know much yet, but
I'm very excited about it. And you know, it's funny because, you know, I have been kind of keeping up. I know that the second one was a prequel in the games, and I know that this movie is a sequel. So, you know, I think that's how interesting. That's, again, Scott knows how to keep us on our toes. I'm really excited to see what happens with Vanessa. Yeah. I'm really excited to see what happens with Abby. I think we all want to know what happened to Garrett. I think there's a bunch of little dangling carrots out there for us to see. I'm super excited about this film. I think, you know, they're smart. They read the critiques. They listened to the fans, and I think they're going to try to give you what you want. I think they're going to try to give the fandom what they want. And try to straddle that line, but make it as family friendly as possible. But I think, you know, I've heard that the horror factor is going up for this.
Yes, I heard that as well, which is really exciting. Okay, as always, guys, I asked you on Twitter for some of your amazing questions for Christian. I'm going to scroll down now and start getting them. Okay, well, you've already answered this, which is funny, but I'll ask you again anyway. TNT Muffin. When you saw the movie in theaters, did people laugh at you screaming? People laughed every time I watched it.
Yes, 100%. And you know what? Like I said, that first screening, it was just a handful of us, you know? And so everybody was silent. Everybody was quiet because we were all seeing the movie for the first time. It hadn't been released yet. I was kind of in shock because how it wound up wasn't the way it was written. I think it was even better, that scene. I think, they say that film is an editor's medium, that the editor can make or break a movie, and they so completely edited this movie in such a way that it made it hilarious. Yes, the whole theater went wild. I have seen the movie 5 times. Each night. I've seen the movie 5 times, and I've snuck in a movie with a bunch of fans, not realizing I was in the room, and kind of sat in the back, and they laughed. I every movie that I've ever sat in on, when we got to my scene, that scene elicited tons of laughter, and man, it made my heart soar when I heard that. And it was such an awesome feeling, and I laughed. I know it's coming. I laugh because of the laughter. So it's amazing. It's amazing.
I want to go back to the first screening, actually.
Yes.
Were you nervous? Because if I was watching the movie for the first time, I would be terrified to see it. I don't know. I'd just get really nervous if I was in it.
So, that's an interesting story. The whole screening situation was interesting because keep in mind, SAG was in a strike, and so we knew there wasn't going to be a premiere, which we never got to do a Five Nights at Freddy's premiere, which was a bit of a bummer.
Yeah.
So what I decided to do is, at that time, I was actually working here at this haunted house, running that when that screening happened in Los Angeles. An agent called me. She says, "Hey, listen, there's a screening in LA. Are you interested in going?" Sure. It was with a day and a half notice, right? I'm like, sure. So I bought a plane ticket. I flew to Los Angeles. It had to be a whirlwind trip. Literally, I was up 24 hours because I had to get back to run this thing. So I flew to LA. I Ubered to the screening room, got to the screening room, watched it, and I have no idea what to expect. Now, I've seen myself on film several times, and there was a time when I couldn't look. There was a time when it would pull me right out of it. One of my early movies was a movie called Monster with Charlize Theron, and there was a bit where I completely pulled me out of the drama. But I kind of learned to deal with it. It's like hearing yourself on audio for the first time. Yeah. You're like, oh, I sound like that? Yeah. And then you get used to it. So I've gotten used to my image on screen. This one was different because there were different things going on. I was whirlwind trip. That was the only time, by the way, that I actually got to meet Matthew, because, he shot in the beginning. I think he shot a little bit more at the end, but the Vandals, we mostly shot amongst ourselves the whole time, except for the bit where we're in the suits, in our dead bodies, and so we met Josh. That's when I met Josh on that particular day. So it's a little bit nerve wracking because it's this. We were a little nervous because we had seen. Some of the reviews from the reviewers were not good, and we're like, let's see the fans. It's going to make and break with the fans. And one of the trailer releases earlier in the year had been the red eyes, and people were very vocal about how they did not like the red eyes. Yeah. And so we all took note. We all knew that stuff coming in, so we were a little nervous. We didn't know exactly what was going to happen, and it wasn't really until the first day of release, and I started seeing my Twitter page exploding with the fans saying it's a love letter, and I'm like, we're gonna be okay. Yeah. So, yeah, awesome. It was
cool. I've got one from Dedusa, which actually is showed with a picture. If you can see it. Is that the picture you were talking about?
That's the one. That's the first time I saw Bonnie.
That is terrifying.
Bonnie was checking me out. Almost licking his lips. Going,
they asked, what was it like meeting Bonnie backstage? But again, you've told us that story about thinking that Bonnie was looking at you.
And you listen, it's funny because I've got my camera, and you don't know what you can and can't take pictures of. You're under this NDA, and that NDA is a big deal, non-disclosure agreement. So I can't post these pictures. I can't talk about this stuff. So I'm taking the pictures so that later, when I can show them. So when those pictures got released, it was almost a year later.
Yeah.
It was almost like 8 months. Because you had to do it from your tour of the set. You had to wait. And as well as I do how hard that was.
I know. To be fair, though, I'm pretty good at keeping secrets, As much as I wanted to say something, though, I knew how good the vlogs were. So I was just super excited just to show people the pizzeria experience, like going around and stuff. And when we got to meet the animatronics for the first time, like we walked in and they were all lined up, and Jade and Kevin, Jess, and they were all in the suits, like waiting for us to come in. Like, it was insane.
I'll tell you something interesting. Not a lot of people know. I'm an actor, but I spent half my career doing stunts. So when I went to Hollywood as an actor, I found myself making my living in stunt work and then bouncing back and forth. And so the stunt community, it's a really small community. I've known Kevin and I've known Jess for years. Like,
oh my God.
I've known Kevin since the 90s. We were good friends in Florida in the 90s. So it's funny that we all are experiencing this thing together. It was great. Even the stunt coordinator, I knew the stunt coordinator from years back, and the assistant. We all went and had a nice evening hanging out after shooting over at on Jade's boat one time. It was so cool. It was so cool that we all hung around like family.
Got a question from Springtrap. Hopefully not the real one. Is there any deleted scenes that you can talk about that you really loved?
Yeah, so it's funny because there are. We talk about the dog, Bonesy the dog, out in the front before we raise the garage door. There's that bit. Listen, it's funny because I think it was unnecessary to the movie, to the story, and for time's sake, I think that probably needed to go. And also, I think there was been a question of what happened to Bonesy the dog.
Yes, true.
Bonesy's in the car. Where's Bonesy now? And so I think there was some logical reasons why that scene was cut. But it was really, like you say, it really built relationships between me and Carl, which I think we missed out on a little bit. There's some bits that we're talking before we go to attack the place. There is so much footage, Dawko, of me wrecking Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. A lot of that, some of that showed up in Chica in Space. At the very end of the mini game, it's me walking around my bat just messing stuff up, which was awesome. And I'm going to tell you about one scene we shot that I wish there was some way to show. But there was a scene where I had to come in, pick up a table, hurl it across the room, and then run over to pick up another chair, and that was going to cut into me destroying the prize counter, right? So we only had one chance at it. It was a one-take wonder. So we had to get the chair or get the table, throw it in such a way that it would throw things around. So I grab this table, I spin around like shot put, right? I let it go and I throw it, and it hits the other table, which flips it up in the air. It hits a chair. The chair goes flying. It's like mousetrap, man. The chair goes flying, hits another chair. Everything scatters and blows apart. And I'm like, holy moly. That is on film somewhere.
Oh, we gotta see that.
It was amazing. I was in shock. Shock for how amazing that was.
Were you the one? Were you the one who hit the Employees of the Month board? Do you remember?
I think so.
It was you.
I broke so much stuff, and I do remember apologizing to you for that. So I can't remember if it was me or Jeff, but I'd certainly apologize for it.
Because that got cut. I think that was a bit long. Like, there was a longer scene of someone hitting it, so then you got to see the cameos of everybody in it, but they cut that short as well. So I remember I was with it was me, Rasbowski, and the Ryans, who we've all got the Employee of the Month cameos. So we were all like nervous on our first. There was like a little premiere in London. It wasn't like a premiere. So we were all sat together like, oh my God, where are we going to see our cameo? And then we get like a tiny snippet of somebody hitting it, and then it gets cut. So we're all like, oh. It got cut. But that's
telling you.
Hollywood, right? That's what happens.
It's exactly the way it is. You never know. You don't know what you're going to get until you get it, you know, and you just kind of learn to give it up and whatever comes back. I will say at the very first destructive scene that we shot, it was me and my baseball bat and a poster, the poster at the front where I'm supposed to come in and wreck this poster. And every time it's glass. It was supposed to hit and the glass is supposed to shatter. We did this thing 7-8 times. Every time I hit it, nothing. And I'm like, come on, I know I can destroy this piece of, and I think the prop guy was starting to get irritated with me, and so he gets the bat, he runs over, bam, nothing. Bam, nothing. Like, I don't know, let's just do something else. So that's how the gumball machines got taken out next.
Okay. Abraham has a nice question. What is it like to be in the FNaF community?
Listen, first of all, Abraham, thank you for that question. And I've always been about family. You know, I'm a social person. I love people, man. I love people. And to have been welcomed into this community with open arms the way that I have is amazing. You know, everybody, it's amazing. It's like, I cannot tell you how grateful I am to be accepted in this community. I didn't call myself Uncle Hank. You guys call me Uncle Hank. Like, it's funny because I saw something on my Twitter feed about how he was the pappy of FNaF. No. We got a dad. We already got a dad. We need an uncle. And so that's where the Uncle Hank came from. It came from the community. And I'll tell you one of the craziest things. I embrace it. I go by Uncle Hank. I tell everybody when I talk about the role that it's Uncle Hank. And in the novelization, they made it canon that I'm uncle because it talks about how Kat's character is feels like my niece. And I'm like, oh, isn't that cool? Isn't that cool that they took this thing that the fans dubbed me and they somehow made it canon in the lore itself. So that's awesome. Man, it's the best thing that's ever happened to me in my career. I've had a lot of great things happen, but this has the longest legs. It has the biggest impact on me as not just an actor, but as a person. Every day I go through my Twitter and my Instagram and I respond to people and I talk to people and I have conversations and I remember, so for you, for the FNaF community, this was my Marvel universe. So I grew up with comics and before there was CGI and all that stuff, I was like, oh, please make a Spider-Man movie, please. Yeah. And now look what's happened to you can't turn around without there being something Marvel somewhere. So I fully understand what it's like to be a fan and want to celebrate your desires and your loves and these genres and these movies. And so I am so happy to be a part of it. It means a lot to me.
I got one from Joseph. Were you able to ever get the Toreador march out of your head after whistling to it all day?
Yes, finally. And it's funny because I whistled all day long. Like, I was nervous because I don't whistle like like most people do. When I whistle, I suck in, so it doesn't have a whole lot of power, right? And so I was worried that they weren't going to be able to pick it up. So I am whistling the thing all day long in my trailer, walking around, going to lunch. I'm whistling the thing all day. And it's funny because Joe and his wife were right next door. And at one point I heard a rumor that his wife says, is he ever going to stop whistling that ridiculous song? And I whistled, like, if you look, if you can see my mouth, I'm probably whistling the Toreador while I'm wrecking the joint. Mm-hmm. I am probably whistling the entire time. It's crazy. And then, so that's why there was such a shock that the whistle wasn't there and it went to the scream. And my first thing went, I can't whistle worth a damn. It worked out better, I think.
Bendy asked, how was it being inside the Sparky suit? Like, dead.
Wow. So, you know, again, Joseph comes to the rescue. When we walk into that room, Joseph, you know who that is, right? You know who that is? It's a dog. It's not just any dog, Christian. That's Sparky. I'm like, what? You're going to be Sparky, man. Do you know what this means? I'm like, no, what does it mean? And he's like, he's no longer a hoax. He's real. You're going to make him real. And I'm like, what? Yeah, okay. And so I'm just going along with it. And we get our, I'm all up in my prosthetic broken arm. And Joseph's in his prosthetic face. He can't see anything. I'm a seeing eye dog, bring him into the room. They put us in the corner and they put the suit on me. And I'm lucky because I'm completely covered up except for my arm. Joseph has to stay there. He's fully exposed. Jeff over there is fully exposed. I'm not going to lie. I dozed off. I just kind of take a nap. And I kind of felt bad about it for a while until I find out that Kat was watching a basketball game in her suit. I'm like, what?
You told me about that.
I had no clue. Of course, I wouldn't have known anyway because I was sleeping through the said game. But I woke up with a stiff back. And I was so cold from being on that floor. We were on that floor for about 2 hours. Now, obviously, we got up and took breaks here and there. But I remember, I'm not as young as I used to be. I was all stiff going, oh, okay. But, it was fun, and being privy to Josh's torture sequence was pretty cool too, because we got to watch that whole thing.
Oh, that's awesome. Speaking about your arm, how long did that take to do that makeup of your broken arm? Because I know that sometimes it can take ages. Well,
they came in and they shaved this patch of my arm. I have a little hairy arm, so they shaved this little patch, right? And they put a prosthetic piece on it and they glued it down. And then they kind of they made the sides blend with my arm. And then they came through and they painted everything. I think honestly it took maybe I think they pre-painted it. So it took about half an hour.
Oh, okay.
And then they would come back and they just put blood on it. And it was so funny. I made this big video where I'm pretending to be Wolverine and it all goes wrong. And I tried to TikTok wouldn't let me put that one out there. It was too graphic, apparently.
And you just spoke about what's the nickname? Shreddy Faz Chair is the nickname for
Shreddy Faz Chair.
Yeah. What was that like then, seeing that? Because I remember when we did the tour, they did show us the thing active and stuff of like the gears and stuff moving around. It's pretty cool.
It looks so legit, I mean, those teeth were made of foam.
Yeah.
But you couldn't tell. There's no way. There's no way of knowing that, I have to give Josh credit because he really held on to last minute as it got really close and then he slid out. I remember watching that and going, woo, man, even though knowing that's foam, man, I can put an eye out, brother. Stop.
I think we're done. I think that's it. But yeah, that was amazing. That was really fun. I enjoyed that. Christian, you're amazing. That was a really nice talk. I really enjoyed that.
Thanks for having me. Listen, we're two enthusiastic people talking about things we enjoy. Can't go wrong.
Yeah, I'll put Christian's socials in the description as well if you want to check him out and support him. He's already been welcomed in the FNaF family, but support him anyway if you haven't already.
Thank you guys for sure. Thank you so much, all of you.
Yeah, awesome. So I know that you did mention your horror attraction at the start of the start of it. So you said that it's open September, October.
September, October. So I spend all year developing. This past year, we did a thing called Hell-Election 2024. Because in the States, we had our big crazy elections. So we just made fun of the whole thing.
Yeah.
The devil you know versus the devil you don't. And we had an election of our own. And it was the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Which one would be the destroyer of the world? And the people had to choose. So that was our thing. And we'll do something different next year. I've got actually a movie coming up called The Bad Man, where I get to wreck things and throw people around again.
Hey, awesome!
I look forward to that. And then I just finished an episode of the TV show Will Trent for season 3. It's going to come out
nice
here soon. And of course, I wreck things and I throw people around. So you might sense a theme with me.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, anything else? Any other future things that you can say or that are not under NDA or anything?
Yeah, I'm working on a live show. My day job throughout these 30 years has been I've worked in theme parks, and I've done live show productions like this haunted house. I'm putting together a show called the New Orleans Macabre, which is it's a compilation of a bunch of horror stories based around the city of New Orleans, and we're going to travel around that. So that's kind of cool. So yeah, I'm still doing the convention thing. I've been mostly in Louisiana, but I'm starting to expand. So if any conventions out there want to bring in some of the vandals from Five Nights, please reach out to my socials. I'd be more than happy to consider it. And yeah, man, that's it. That's what we do nowadays. We're having a good time with all this.
Awesome. Yeah, hopefully you can come to the UK
Yes,
at
sir.
some point. That'd be amazing.
In fact, I was just in London. I guess it was 2 years ago, right before this came out. But I'm doing another trip, so when I do, I'll be sure to send you a shout out.
Yeah,
buy
awesome. Yeah, buy me a pint and some tea and crumpets and.
Yeah, I'll bring some cornbread and mashed potatoes, and we'll just do a swap.
Awesome. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, guys. I really do appreciate it. And again, thank you, Christian, for joining me. We'll see you all next time, next episode. Bye-bye, guys. Thank you.